There was supposed to be music right now. Welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Cal, and it's Tuesday, the hour before Power, and I'm here to talk to you about the National Wrestling Alliance. We have a packed house already. I see some of my good buddies already here in the house. Willie Bowen's here. Bobby Petito. What's up, gentlemen? I also see Heaves is in the house. Terry McDermott's here, the Guardian of Chaos. Man, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. This is, like I said, the hour before Power. We're here to talk NWA. We're here to talk Crockett Cup. We're here to talk Power Trip. Don't you know that will be featured tonight on NWA Power? What a week, huh? It's starting to set in that Matt Cardona is your world's heavyweight champion. He's my world's heavyweight champion, too. Do not get me wrong. I do not mean to disrespect our world's heavyweight champion. First, he takes the title to Paris, and then he leaves it at home when he goes to Impact. Nicely done, champ. Nicely done. Now, I don't know. Maybe there's some contractual obligations. Maybe Impact Wrestling doesn't want to showcase the 10 pounds of gold. Maybe Matt Cardona didn't want to bring the title to the show. It's a little auspicious, if you will, that your world's heavyweight champion, who was featured in all these advertisements with the 10 pounds of gold, is slowly stepping away from that. Now, I'm not trying to predict the future here, but if I'm going to read the tea leaves, what's going on? River City Wrestling was promoting a match between Matt Cardona and the mysterious Q that was set for, I believe, in just a few weeks here. And originally, all the advertisements featured Matt Cardona with that 10 pounds of gold. Now that match is being billed as an Impact Digital Media Championship match. Does that strike anyone else as odd? Does that feel a little bit weird to anybody else? Is it just me? With that being said, we're just a few. Let's see. That match actually is supposed to take place on March 6th. So a couple weeks before the big match in Nashville, Tennessee, where Matt Cardona faces the national treasure Nick Aldis, and Nick Aldis's return to the main event. So that just strikes me as a little bit odd. But on the other side, I mean, you've got the Hardy Boys, Matt Hardy specifically calling out Matt Cardona, saying that after they beat them on March 13th at Big Time Wrestling, that Matt Hardy was going to come to the NWA and take the 10 pounds of gold off of him. Now, this is what I like. This is what I like to see. I want people calling out your world's heavyweight champion, Matt Cardona. I want the world of pro wrestling to put the NWA on notice, to put Matt Cardona on notice. If Matt Cardona could walk into the NWA with no more than 2 matches and win the 10 pounds of gold, if Mike Knox could come into the NWA without even as much as having 1 match and challenge for the gold, then I want the entire wrestling world to be out there. I want the entire wrestling world to be focusing in on Matt Cardona. Dustin, Cody, all the Rhodes, even Brandy. I want them targeting Matt Cardona. I want everyone who was released from their WWE contract, Samoa Joe, Karrion Kross. I want them all breathing down the neck of Matt Cardona. I want everybody who is available to be screaming and yelling to get a shot at Matt Cardona, because that, my friends, is why you put this dude as your world champion, to get that buzz, to generate the heat. I want Jeff Jarrett to come out and smack him with a guitar and challenge him for a title match. I mean, am I the only one? What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? Would you like to see some more high caliber wrestlers? And look, there's nothing wrong with Nick Aldis challenging for the 10 pounds of gold. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion that Aldis would be back in the title picture as soon as Trevor Murdoch was out of the title picture. And that's because he's wanted to be champion, but he even openly said he wanted Trevor Murdoch to enjoy his run as champion. I want the Pope to be out there making the same challenges that Nick Aldis is. Because remember, the Pope sidestepped too for Trevor Murdoch. But now that Trevor Murdoch is no longer world's heavyweight champion, all bets are off. Everyone. It's Matt Cardona, the Cardonas, VSK, Mike Knox, and Chelsea Green versus the world. And that's how it should be. Because if you're going to bring in somebody as volatile as Matt Cardona and someone who's got the buzz that Matt Cardona does, I want the whole world breathing down his neck. What do you guys think? Let's go to some of your comments. Let's see. Heebs says he does agree that there are some weird vibes following the change of advertisements, and speculated that perhaps Impact might have fronted the money for the match, and that's very much a possibility. I don't know. I don't work in the front office of any of these companies. It's just observational commentary, right? Rosville's in the house. What is up, Rosville? Terry McDermott says, is the digital championship Matt's own belt? Actually, no, that is a genuine Impact title. That is a open weight, open gender. Basically, anybody could challenge for it. The former champion was Jordan Grace, and her and Matt wrestled again at No Surrender. Cardona still remains champion. Let's see. Wrestling with MMA says, good afternoon. Well, good afternoon to you, sir. Rosville says, Allie catches good. Saw her at Defy Live. Allie, sure, yeah. I'd like to see more of her wrestle everywhere. And that's the thing with the NWA, with the women's division. It seems kind of wide open, and that they, if you're not under contract, they'd be willing to do business. So someone I'd like to see for sure. Wrestling with MMA says, slap nuts. Do you remember when Jeff Jarrett went to New Japan Pro Wrestling and chased down Hulk Hogan, hit him with a guitar, and called him slap nuts? I thought for sure, because of the ties with TNA Wrestling back then, I thought for sure we were going to see Hulk Hogan hold that legendary 10 pounds of gold. Thank God it never happened. But, I thought it was so close to happening. Sean Mega's in the house. What is up, Sean? Bobby Petito says he'd like to see Arya Daivari wrestle again in the NWA. I'm not sure what his status is with the NWA. And I mean, we saw him wrestle Darius Lockhart. As far as I know, he's still around. But, that's the thing about a privately owned company. Like, you're not going to get a lot of these announcements of who's here, who's there. It's small enough, the NWA, that, they're able to police. That's the word I'm looking for. Police their talent and staff. You don't get a lot of moles in the NWA where, like the, AEW, WWE, there's a lot of people who are in these companies that hear things, that share them with the dirt sheets and all that sort of thing. But I think in a company as small as the NWA, it's very tight knit, and it is very much a family environment. And I think, I could be mistaken, but I think it's kind of a mentality of us versus the world. So I don't think you're going to hear too many behind the scenes information for the NWA. Terry McDermott says, no guitar smashing. Just one guitar smashing, Terry. Come on. Wrestling with MMA says, I want Cardona to constantly be looking over his shoulder while he has the 10 pounds. Exactly. Like, this guy should go insane being world's heavyweight champion, because he thrives on that heat, right? He thrives on that buzz. He is he's certified on Instagram and on Twitter, and he's a celebrity, and he wants everyone to know it. And he rubs a lot of people the wrong way, which is great, because he's a heel. He's supposed to. He's not supposed to be your best friend. He's not a role model. He's not a hero. He's not somebody you would look up to. He's somebody you would despise. He's somebody that's so thirsty for fame and fortune, he'll do anything to get it. And if that's the case, then by all means, unleash the hounds, unleash the Kraken. I want everybody. I want EC3. I want Braun Strowman. I want them all breathing down his neck, claiming that they will be the next world's heavyweight champion. Let's open up the floodgates. Let's get people talking about the 10 pounds of gold on a daily. Who will be next? Hell, why not Goldberg? Could you imagine? Oh, I think he's out of his WWE deal. What if Goldberg came to the NWA and challenged Matt Cardona for that title? Wow. Sometimes I say crazy things. Brian Cage versus Matt Cardona, winner gets the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. I mean, sure, but Willie, Matt Cardona already has the belt. He doesn't even have to win. He just can't lose. Bobby Batista says he'd like to see VSK wrestle in the junior heavyweight division. I mean, that could happen. It certainly should. Bobby also says Cardona versus Jack Stane. Now you're talking my language. Jack Stane, I consider a friend of the show. Consider him a friend in real life. And I would love to see Jack Stane continue to thrive in that NWA market and elevate himself to the top. And no better way to do that than to go through Matt Cardona. However, I kind of feel like his troubles with Anthony Mayweather are not finished. And I feel like there's more to be told, more stories to be told there in the now national heavyweight division. Roswell says that Illy Gotten shouldn't be in the Crockett Cup. Their slot should be a guest team. You know, and that's the thing, right? So if you start breaking down wins and losses, there's probably at least 2 or 3 teams that shouldn't be in this tournament, but they're here. And that's the thing. There's a lot of discussion, a lot of discourse on Discord. Link is in bio. If you want to join our Discord channel, the link is right down there in the description. The way I sees it, yeah, I said it sees it. This isn't the tournament I would have booked, but it's the tournament that we have. And I have to be completely honest with you. The Briscoes are probably the best tag team in all of wrestling. Not just the NWA, not just Ring of Honor, but of all of wrestling. And so the fact that they will be showcased in this legendary tournament, that makes me happy. Seeing teams like La Rebellion have an opportunity to showcase just how damn good they are makes me happy. But there are some teams in here that I think shouldn't be in here. And there are some teams in here that, I think totally deserve to be in there. The End, Hawks Ari. I mean, I think they're facing each other in the first round. And that's unfortunate because both of those teams are so good. You know, I don't know who they're going to partner with Doug Williams. A lot of the people on the internet are clamoring for Samoa Joe. I don't think that's going to happen. That would be amazing. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm sure they'll find a suitable partner. I kind of think it might end up being former world's heavyweight champion, Trevor Murdoch. So we'll see. Sean Mega says, I think Jack Stane is ready because he has a character to match his aggression. Agreed. Jack Stane has evolved. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Stane has evolved. He's no longer, Godzilla. He is the Dane event. Don't get it twisted. The man is stacked, jacked, and ready to smack. Am I cutting promos here? Regardless, I think Jack Stane would be a total worthy challenger, but I don't think that's the direction they're heading right now with the NWA. And we'll see. Again, this is not inside information. This is speculation and observation. I really do feel like the NWA has kind of caught lightning in a bottle with Matt Cardona. I don't think that, I will say from my own personal opinion, I was pleasantly surprised how excited the world of wrestling was that Matt Cardona won that title. And the fact that he's getting acknowledged by guys like Matt Hardy, the fact that they're talking about Matt Cardona on the Busted Open radio show, I think that lends a lot of credibility to Matt Cardona being world's heavyweight champion. And I know the obvious answer at Crockett Cup is, hey, Aldis gets that title back, but does he? Does he? The last time Nick Aldis wrestled somebody like Matt Cardona, he lost the title to Dustin Rhodes at All In. Now, I'm not saying that Matt Cardona is Dustin Rhodes. Not Dustin, excuse me, Cody. Gosh, did I say Dustin twice? Cody, excuse me, Cody. I'm not saying he's Cody, but I'm saying that they're similar enough, and there's not a lot of tape. There's not a lot of tape on Matt Cardona in the NWA. You know, and I know that's, kayfabe stuff, but nobody in the NWA has really seen Matt Cardona. He hasn't had a lot of time there, so he's still kind of an anomaly. Lamb says Hulk Hogan was actually planned to beat Jarrett for the title in 2003, but WWE called Hogan back for WrestleMania 19 for Vince versus Hogan. Well, thank God that didn't happen. I don't know. Hogan on his worst day is more interesting than Jeff Jarrett. Is he? God. Sean, I love you, buddy, but I don't know if I agree with that. Heeb says Billy acknowledged the championship series winners during the bracket show, so Popes, Danes, Colby, and the Velvet's title shots still exist. Well, that's great. That's great that the titles are those victories are still being held as potential challenges. And again, with Matt Cardona, I mean, look, maybe he doesn't beat Nick Aldis, but how awesome would it be if somebody like the Pope put himself into that match, or Jack Stane, or hell, all four of them. Wrestling with MMA says he's a lightning rod and an electrical storm. He's getting a lot of heat, guys. I mean, he's getting a lot of heat. Terry McDermott says Matt Cardona knows how to self-promote. He would be a good politician, 100%. But that's, I mean, look, that's what wrestling is. You got to get yourself over. No one's going to toot your horn more than yourself if you're trying to get over. Sean Mega says Goldberg can get a $1 million per match. I'm just saying, look, I don't want it to happen. I'm not saying it should happen, but I'm saying that the typical wrestling fan who watches WWE that might have never seen the NWA would say, whoa, Zack Ryder versus Goldberg, sign me up. And I'm just saying that'd be a lot of fun just for the chaos, just for the sheets talking, just the internet buzz. I'm not saying I need to see Goldberg ever in an NWA ring. I just think it'd be interesting. DKM, my pal, my confidant, my partner on the Alliance Guys podcast, said he'd cry if Goldberg showed up. And further echoes the sentiment of go Jax. Yeah, we're Team Jax here on this podcast, on this channel, on this website. And if you guys haven't identified that yet, I'll never say a bad thing about Jax Stane. He's my guy. So I'm supporting him, and he's the guy that should be the world's heavyweight champion. But until he is, this is who we have, Matt Cardona. Matt Vermillion says Aldis versus Cardona, winner versus Masato Tanaka. Brother, Masato Tanaka, I mean, he might be past his prime, but I'm all in. Let's make it happen. Who do I have to call? Do we book it in 0-1, or can we book this match in the NWA? Let's do it. Masato Tanaka, former ECW World Heavyweight Champion. His feuds with Mike Awesome were legendary. I saw that guy eat so many chairs and get thrown out onto the hard concrete floor. He's a beast. Sure, that was 20 years ago, but hey, he's still a beast. Let's see what he's got. Willie Bowen says Samoa Joe versus Matt Cardona. Brother, let's make it happen. Let's make it. Who do I have to look? I got $100 on it. Where's my wallet? I'll put $100 down right now. Let's do it. Samoa Joe, Matt Cardona, make it happen. NWA 74th. Let's do the damn thing. Wrestling with MMA that says Jack Stane versus everyone. Jack Stane versus the world. I'm in. Let's do it. I like that too. Too bad Goldberg is more expensive than the entire roster. Len, I mean, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. I'm just saying it'd be interesting. Bobby Batista says he's looking forward to watching Camille versus Taran Terrell. Yeah, I mean, look, Taran Terrell in her own right is a former Impact Women's Champion. I guess knockouts. Sure. I mean, I think that would be I think that should be an interesting match, to say the least. We haven't got a lot of that Impact Taran Terrell. We've had a lot of this post-concussion syndrome Taran Terrell, and I don't know if that's exactly what was wrong with her, but I know she hasn't been 100% healthy during her run in the NWA. I would like to see Taran Terrell mix it up the way that she used to, the way that she had in the past, but we haven't seen that yet. Dodie says, I'd rather we have Rock and Roll Express or Ricky and Carrie than the Ill Begotten. This is the one time I'm going to agree with you, Dodie. Give me Ricky and Carrie. And I don't like Ricky Morton, but it's just the Ill Begotten is an enhancement tag team. They're not supposed to go over. They're not supposed to get over. They're supposed to make other people look like stars. It'd be the same thing of putting Jake Fable and Jaden Rowland in this thing. It's the same thing. Why? Why? Stupid. Sorry. Heap says the Ill Begotten could still be a guest team. They have been building their numbers every appearance recently. I mean, you're not kidding, man. Captain Yuma, Alex, what's his name, Rush Freeman, and now our boy Jeremiah Plunkett. I mean, they are becoming quite the force to reckon with, but still. DKM says you can't have everyone in Crockett Cup and someone has to lose. Sure, that's a great point. But what you don't understand is I'm willing to have teams lose. Like the Dirty Sexy Boys totally belong in this tournament, probably shouldn't get past the second round. Maybe not even the first round. And that's not a shot at Jay the God or Dirty Dango. It's just their record doesn't reflect them being the premier tag team of the NWA. The teams that I think should be dominant here are the teams that have been dominant. I think you got to look at, of course, La Rebellion. They should be in the finals. I do think the finals will come down to La Rebellion and the Briscoes. But as you get there, I mean, I'm going to say it right now, Hawks Ari has to advance, right? They're the future of the NWA and the tag team division. So I think Hawk Ari is going to best the end. And like I said, that's unfortunate. I think the end should have had a different opponent so that they could have gotten to the second round. But, I'm not the one seeding the tournament. Mr. William Patrick Corgan is. But there are teams in there that are going to lose. I fully believe the end, a team that I like, a team that I enjoy, I expect them to lose. I expect Hawk Ari to lose. I expect the DSBs to lose. I expect the Strictly Business to lose. I expect British Invasion to lose. I think it's all going to come down to the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions and the NWA Tag Team Champions. Bobby Petito says he's looking forward to watching Jay Spade challenge for the junior heavyweight title. I'm all right with that. Let's see it. Willie Bowen says Rob Terry should be Doug Williams' tag team partner in the Crockett since Nick Aldis is challenging Cardona for the World Championship. That wouldn't be a horrible thing. I mean, you still could be able to call it British Invasion. Matt Vermillion coming out of left field with that one. William Regal. I mean, I'm not against it. That's a tag team I didn't know I needed to see. Terry McDermott says Jack Dane needs one more title run. I can get down with that. Sean Mega says, what's up, Willie? What's up, everyone? DKM caught me. Cody. Wrestling with MMA says, as much as I hate to say it, Cardona has the attitude, ability, and spotlight to carry the 10 pounds like no one else in quite some time. There's a lot of parallels between what Cody was doing at All In to what Matt Cardona is doing right now. And please don't take this as a diss to Nick Aldis or even Trevor Murdoch. Nick Aldis carried this brand on his back for multiple runs for basically since the day the NWA was purchased. Nick Aldis won the title December 9th, 2017 at CZW and then took the title all across the world. Like not just to California and West Virginia and Tennessee and Texas. No, literally defended the title in the United Kingdom, defended the title in China, defended the title in Australia, literally took the belt all over. You cannot take away from that. But there was a palpable positive reaction to Cody versus Nick at All In. And it wasn't even the main event, but people talk about it like it was. It was very much hyped not only on the NWA channel, of course, but also it was hyped up with the Elites channel, right? Being the Elite. It made a lot of sense, and it got a lot of people talking about the NWA, and that spilled over to the 70th anniversary show. And I will tell you, you cannot change my mind. I was there. I saw those Elite fans. I saw the Bullet Club t-shirts, the Young Bucks t-shirts, the Cody t-shirts at the 70th anniversary show. That feud helped propel the NWA forward. This feud right now, I hope to God it's not a one match and we're done. Cardona versus Aldis has potential to keep propelling the NWA forward. Cardona versus anybody, really. Anybody with name value is going to help drive the NWA forward. I hope it doesn't end at Crockett Cup. And this is coming from someone who's not a Cardona fan but sees the value in what he does. D-Cam says it's not Zack Ryder, and that's part of the problem. I get it. I should get a little bit. Matt, you're taking off. Good to see you, man. Lamb says, imagine that the NWA could have gotten the Rockness Monsters, but put Ill Begotten into the cup. I mean, we still might see it, right? It's there's still 3 more teams to be announced as the play-in, plus there's a to-be-determined team. And the rumors are that the original Kingdom won't be at the Crockett Cup. I hope they don't just do a bye. If they're not going to be there, I hope they actually put a physical team in its place. But we'll have to wait and see. Vincent Verb X Patterson says, are you surprised no FTR? Not surprised, because we have to be realistic in our expectations. What you're seeing at this tournament is a majority of NWA tag teams. FTR is not associated with the NWA. They're not in the NWA. They're not part of the NWA. So it'd be unrealistic to expect to see them in this tournament at all. With that being said, if I was booking the tournament, I would have put a higher premium on the best tag team wrestling available. And if that would have meant kissing Uncle Tony's butt to get an FTR in the tournament, I would have done it. I would have done whatever I had to do to get them. The fact of the matter is that maybe they're just not available. Okay. You still have the Briscoes. You still have La Rebellion. You still have you still have Strictly Business. You still have a couple of really good tag teams in the tournament. But I would have loved to seen the Hardys in it. I would have loved to seen the Bollywood Boys or the Lucha Party. There's several teams that could have made this tournament even better. And I just feel like I totally get the idea that the NWA is going to feature NWA tag teams. I get why that's important. But I think it would have been a good idea to try to get some more of those premium tag teams for the tournament. But that's just my thought process. DCam says, I don't remember anybody thinking that the Mulkeys or Nelson Royal and Sam Houston were going to be the, I think he meant like tournament champions. Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. Look, but if you're talking about 1986 pro wrestling versus 2022 pro wrestling, a lot of things have changed since then. And yes, we can make the comparisons to the past, but at the same time, we're in a new era. I don't think we can keep holding on to these ideals that were popular or worked in 1986 and 87. You're right. At the end of the day, there needs to be a good guy and a bad guy. At the end of the day, they need to have a reason to fight. But, I mean, the NWA is at a crossroads, right? They want to be bigger than what they are. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, well, that's the definition of insanity. If you want something bigger and better, you're going to have to provide something bigger and better. If you want fans talking about the NWA, you're going to have to do something that's worth talking about. And I'm sorry, but the ill-begotten is not it. And that's no insult to Rush Freeman or Johnny Yuma or Jeremiah Plunkett. That's just the honest to God's truth. Marshe Rockett and Jordan Clearwater, albeit entertaining pro wrestlers, they don't have a great win-loss record. They're not moving the needle. Nobody is tuning into the Crockett Cup to see those guys. I think you had an opportunity to really do something remarkable. And I think you went with the safe move, which I understand why, but I still think they should have done more. And look, it's my opinion. You don't have to agree. Obviously William Patrick Corgan doesn't, and that's fine. Matthew Underwood says Cody's return to the WWE is going to negate some of negate all of this. Even though he's not NWA, he was the face of the Indies. Let's hope it's all a work. I don't necessarily agree with you on that. I don't think Cody was the face of the Indies. I think Cody was privileged, right? I think Cody happened to fall in with the right group of people. And, before anyone tells me I'm wrong, like, where would Cody be without the Bullet Club? Where would Cody have been without the Young Bucks? Where would Cody have been without the Elite? He would have been that guy who was wrestling for Impact and won the, not Impact. Well, yeah, Impact too, but also wrestled for Global Force Wrestling and won their secondary championship. He wrestled in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla at the Battle of Los Angeles and didn't really make any waves. It was his partnership with the Young Bucks and Adam Cole and the Bullet Club and all of that really helped launch Cody to a bigger deal in the Indies. I don't think he was the face of the Indies. I think he was privileged to be at the right place at the right time. Willie says Jack Stane versus Anthony Mayweather. If Jack wins the national championship, he can challenge for the world championship. Right on, man. Matthew says he wants AOP. I mean, they're not. I don't even know if those guys are still wrestling, but I'm with you, man. I do support that. The Koloff Dynasty, again, another team that would have been fun for this situation. If you're going to give me tag teams that I haven't, that aren't going to win, put some teams out there that would add a little bit of spice to it. The Koloff Dynasty would be that to me. My buddy Rick agrees. He says he'd like to have seen more outside teams taking part in the tournament. Gorillas of Destiny. Now you're talking. They were on my my talking list, but I totally forgot them. The Von Erichs. Again, I would like the Von Erichs too, but I just don't see. Again, they're kind of under contract to MLW, and I don't think you're going to see a lot of MLW NWA crossover. In fact, I don't think you're going to see any MLW NWA crossover. Dave Scooby says the original Kingdom will be doing Impact tapings the same weekend as Crockett Cup. Fixers versus the OGK in Oak Grove was a qualifying match. But they're both in the tournament still. The original Kingdom already lost their opening match. Okay. Interesting. It's hard to understand where this is all coming from. And of course, as the maybe some of these questions will be answered at Power Trip on Power, but we'll see. Sean Megan says Homicide and Hernandez. That would have been cool too. DKM says it has to make financial sense to get some of these teams. And for that, I agree with you 100%. It does have to make some financial sense. And maybe the Hardys aren't the guys that are going to, help sell out Nashville. Maybe it's not Lucha Party. Maybe it's not the Bollywood Boys. But I don't think that the way that it's set up right now, there's a huge demand. At least not for me. And I bought my tickets today. Full disclosure, I got my tickets. I'll be there the 19th. I'll be there 20th. But my hotel's already booked. Flights already booked. Cars are already reserved. But I'm not thrilled with this tournament. Sorry. And then, sorry, guys. Sean Omega says Omega was the face. All right. DKM says at the end of the day, they need to make money, and you can't bring in FTR, Gorillas of Destiny, Briscoes, and other quilting quote top teams out there and still make money in today's market. Quality teams. Okay, I mean, look, again, I agree. I don't think you need to bring in all of those teams, but I think adding one more or two more would have certainly elevated this tournament, elevated the relevance of the NWA. I mean, much like bringing Matt Cardona in to be your world's heavyweight champion, that was a look at me move. Are you telling me Matt Cardona is cheaper to book than Trevor Murdoch? If we're just talking dollars and cents, hell, I bet you Sal Rinauro could be your world's heavyweight champion for a lot less than what you're paying Matt Cardona, right? Yes, you're right. Dollars and cents is important, but you also have to get value. By going cheap on a tournament, I don't think you're getting value in that tournament. If the NWA is promoting an event and it's called the Crockett Cup, I don't need to have a world's heavyweight title match there. I need to have a tournament that is befitting of befitting of the tournament. I need teams in there that are going to look good, clean. But again, that's just my opinion. Willie Bowen says the Bodega should have been in the Crockett Cup. That'd have been cool. Dodie says, I want Saito brothers, the Koloff dynasty, and technical difficulties. Add them. I'll be happy and no complaint. Add at least one of them, and that's enough for me. And of course, no Crockett Cup without the Rock and Roll Express. I mean, look, it is what it is. Bobby Petito says, J Cal, do you expect to see more new faces for the women's tag team and women division after Crockett Cup? The short answer, no. Now, over the recent weeks, I mean, we're seeing Kenzie Paige, Natalia Markova, Genocide. There's a lot of women out there who I think are definitely making the show more interesting. Kenzie Paige is taking a very serious approach to her wrestling. I think her in-ring style has gotten better. I think her conditioning has gotten better. She looks to be in better in-ring shape, and I applaud her for that. I think that's great. Genocide versus Natalia Markova was one of the hardest hitting matches I've seen in the NWA, period. I want to see more wrestling like this. Melina, although has had a few hiccups, she still looks mostly good. Maddie Renikowski has looked great. Kylie Ray, Tootie Lynn, been the excellent foils for Team Hex. Do I think there's going to be more tag teams coming to the NWA? Probably not. Do I think there might be some more faces coming to the NWA for the women's division? I mean, I'm sure there is. But I don't. It's kind of hard to say. We'll just have to wait and see. Lamb says the Crockett Cup would have also been great to showcase to look at new teams after Crockett Cup. But yeah, whatever. At least they trust their own roster enough to carry the event. That's also a good point too, and it's something that I think we should all pay attention to. There are some good tag teams in this tournament. Don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not saying that it's all bad. What I'm saying is that a few extra names would have been, I think, a win for the NWA. I mean, I know that there's going to be a surprise opponent for the Briscoes, but who is out there what tag team is available that would make people go, oh, that's a cool team to face the Briscoes? Because if they were a good, really good team that people know about, they wouldn't be waiting to announce it until the show. And I don't know. It's just to me, I think there was some opportunities that were being missed. And DKM says, let's be honest, the selling point isn't who's in the tournament, it's the name associated with it in the world title match that goes with it. Yes, but see, that's where I think this is a big fallacy. Like, you're promoting an event that is a tag team tournament. Why isn't the emphasis on the tournament? Are you telling me that the Crockett Cup will go on after the world's heavyweight title match? No? Then what's the point of having that match then? Let's just call this something else. It doesn't need to be the Crockett Cup. If the Crockett Cup isn't relative to the success of the event, then why even have it? I don't know. Like I said, I could be wrong. Then DKM says the next year all anybody will care about is who won and who they beat in the finals. Yeah. Again, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Sean Mega says, I think the Von Erichs is the surprise they are not booked at the next MLW tapings. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a huge Von Erich fan, but just the family lineage connected to the NWA. I know that the Von Erichs weren't NWA World Tag Team Champions, but Kerry was a World's Heavyweight Champion. David was a perennial contender, and I feel like that was where they were going long term. They were going to use David in more of a championship role for the NWA. Maybe it would have been short term, but there is that history that links the NWA indefinitely, forever, with the Von Erich family. So I think if you could get Marshall and you could get Ross into the tournament, I think that would be a lot of fun. But again, I'm not holding my breath for that. Bobby Petito says that Darius Lockhart is his pick to win the junior heavyweight championship. not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all. I mean, as you look at the tournament, and I was supposed to have this file here on the can I bring it up? Do I have it? Let me see. Did I get it? Yeah, I do. Okay, cool. I mean, as we look at the tournament, for those of you who are asking, we got La Rebellion, and La Rebellion is seeded number 1. So, of course, they're going to face a play-in tag team, and it sounds like it'll be a 4-way match probably on the first night, probably more than likely the pre-show. There'll be 4 teams. One of them will advance to face La Rebellion. Hawkari versus The End. Again, I feel like that match is unfortunate because they're both such good tag teams. I felt like we could have got more out of them. You got Strictly Business and Gold Rush. I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in Austin Idol Sports Management, so I think Strictly Business goes over. Ill Begotten faces Doug Williams and whoever. I got Doug Williams and whoever. You got the OGK versus the Fixers. Everyone's saying that match has already happened. And, so that means that whoever won the Fixers will be advancing to the next round. You got the Cardonas, which is, again, don't get me started. Why are we putting these guys in the tournament? They've never even teamed in the NWA before. They never even teamed together before. This is the kind of booking that makes me scratch my head and really think less of the NWA. And then you've got Pope and Mims. And again, what did Pope and Mims, why are they in this thing? And I get it, if this was a replacement, if this was if they were a replacement tag team, I'd get that. But they're not. They were booked to be in here. You got the former champions, Kratos and Stevens, and look, they're seated so low. Like, maybe they should have been seated between Hawkari and The End. I don't know. You got the Dirty Sexy Boys again. They're probably seated where they should be, honestly. And then you've got a to-be-determined tag team versus the Briscoes. So, I mean, it's not an awful tournament. It's not terrible. But, I mean, that should be the focus of the show. It shouldn't be this. In fact, if I were booking the NWA, both of these men would be in the Crockett Cup. Matt Cardona teaming with Brian Myers as the Major Brothers or whatever you want to call them, and Nick Aldis and Doug Williams in the British Invasion. And if it came down to those 4 guys, then I'd be totally cool with that. I mean, am I crazy? You guys tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm crazy. And I see Certified Hustlers in the house. What's up, Hustler? Lamb says the to be determined and playing are the most interesting spots on the bracket. Otherwise, well, it will be solid good for the fans for sure. And of course, I mean, this just handed to me. We also know that one of the play-in teams is going to be, let me pull it up here. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. The first team that will be in the play-in will be Violence is Forever. Now, this is a good pick. If you guys aren't familiar with Violence is Forever, they wrestle pretty much in the South, but they've also been they've worked matches with the AEW. They've had matches again with MLW. They are currently the Black Label Pro Wrestling's tag team champions. They're based out of Indiana, but they wrestle everywhere. I mean, they wrestled in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Tennessee, North Dakota, Florida. I mean, they wrestle everywhere. They've been teaming together since 2018. They've competed in Game Changer Wrestling. They've competed in just about everywhere, So a team like that, I think, is certainly adds something to the tournament. Now, I don't expect them to advance in the tournament, and especially if they're facing La Rebellion in the first round, forget it. But they need to, for them to even get to that point, they have to beat 3 other teams. This is the only one that's been announced so far. So again, Violence is Forever. If you guys weren't aware, that you now know that they will be part of the play-in team. And the play-in concept was used in the 2019 tournament. And we had Jay Bradley teaming with Josephus. We had the Tate twins who are wrestling as the Boys. A couple other unique tag teams were in there. And of course, the Royce Isaacs and Tom Latimer won the whole damn thing, became the wild card, and then got to the finals only to lose to Villains Enterprise. We could see that again. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to follow the same formula, but that playing team could be a very big deal for the tournament. There's no guarantees, and that's for certain. Let's see. Dave Scooby says, do the bouncers show up and go after the Briscoes? That would be some long-term booking if the Pope comes out there, right? Pope comes out there, says he's looking for his Hossman. Sean, I don't disagree that Cardona versus Aldis is money. I hope that's not what I'm trying to say. That match should be the main event of a pay-per-view, 100%. Just not this one. And if you had the right tag teams in this tournament, those guys don't need to main event it. Plus, it helps to build the storyline if Cardona and Myers wrestle Aldis and Williams and say it gets real physical, or maybe a double count out, or maybe any number of things could happen that could help perpetuate a storyline that makes sense. Guardians of Chaos said he watched 83 Starrcade yesterday, and it was truly the beginning of the big event shows. Yeah, man. What was that? I believe that was the event that Tully and Nikita, the I Quit match. Not Nikita. Magnum TA. Bobby Petito says, "Where are the rude dudes?" I mean, that's a pretty. That's a pretty easy. That's a team that I'm surprised isn't in the tournament, but then again, I'm glad they're not. I'd like to see better tag teams. Sean Vega says they were with Tom Lawler, they being Violence is Forever. Yeah. Doty says he's never seen them before, but hopes to see them soon. Sean Vega says, I would put Gold Rush to win. La Rebellion and Briscoe's winning does nothing for the NWA. Another excellent point. Maybe that's why Hakari should win. Or maybe that's why the N should win. Why do I still have this banner up? Let me pull that down. Not that button. That button. Hustler wants Gold Rush should win. Bobby Batista says NWA just announced Violence is Forever playing Crockett Cup. Yeah, I just announced that, Bobby. I just kidding. Yeah. Devin Dowling. When's Paola getting her tag title rematch? Oh, God bless you, Devin. Yeah, soon. Hopefully, right? I mean, look, Smiley Dragons should probably end up getting a tag team title shot that weekend against Team Hex. Then going forward, hopefully Genocide and Paola should probably get the call to be next in line for the tag team titles. Hit Bingo agrees with me. I agree with you about Cardona and all this in the tournament. Yeah. Because, look, it's the tag team tournament pay-per-view. That's what this is. It doesn't need the world's heavyweight champion. I get having... Look, we're going to crown a new world junior heavyweight champion. More than likely, Camille will be defending her championship. More than likely, Anthony Mayweather will be defending his national championship. More than likely, Team Hex will be defending their tag team championships. So we've got plenty of title matches. Maybe even Tyrus, will defend his title. So why do we need to have the world's heavyweight championship on the line? I don't know. Again, I could be alone here and I'll die on the hill by myself. This is a tag team tournament. The emphasis should be on tag team wrestling. Rosville wants Kratos and Stevens for the win. Whoa. All right. Doty said the Rude Dude have a chemistry on its own. Unfortunately, since El Rudo is more committed to AAA, it's hard for the NWA to commit to him at this time, aside for filler roster. And that's okay too, right? The Rude Dudes, I mean, you're right. They're not a bad tag team. It just, as long as El Rudo is playing second fiddle to the NWA for AAA, I mean, that's how it's going to be. Devin says Trevor Murdoch should be having a rematch so Williams and Aldis can still team up. Billy really booked himself into a corner with this one. I got to agree. I don't think we needed Aldis in this match. And again, I hope this message isn't lost. I hope people aren't going and saying, oh, J Cal thinks Aldis sucks. No, that's not what I'm saying. I just think that Aldis would be better served to be in the tournament. I even think Brian Myers and Matt Cardona would have been better served to be in the tournament as opposed to Cardona defending the title. But if you're going to put Cardona in a match, Trevor should have gotten a rematch. And it's kind of a shame that he didn't. It's like kind of like they're just like, hey, you remember Trevor Murdoch being the world champion? No, you don't. Let's just erase that. Heebs is a big Fixers fan, and I'm not against that either, because let's be honest, that would certainly shake up the tag team division in the NWA and certainly give Colby Corino some legitimacy as this the head of the Fixers. Devin says, I want the Fixers to take it all. Wrecking Ball is that dude. Wrecking Ball's kind of funny guy. Oh, come on, Lamb. Don't bring that here. United Wrestling Network should bring in the Dawson since the NWA isn't. Look, UWN has its own set of problems and its own set of issues, and they're not perfect either. I love David Marquez. I love the many years that I covered Championship Wrestling from Hollywood for SoCal Uncensored. I love the many years that I covered Championship Wrestling from Hollywood for the Alliance blog. But they have several good tag teams. Midnight Heat, the Bodega, Flex, and Slade. They have plenty of tag teams. They don't need to go bringing in lesser-known guys that aren't really going to move the needle. The United Wrestling Network, in my opinion, should be doing comparable to what I'm telling the NWA to do, and that's to bring in some bigger names. Now's the time. There's too many wrestling promotions out here that are doing the same old thing. They look the same. They act the same. I need some delineation, and I want some of these wrestling promotions to step up. Step up. The NWA, this is your time. There was such a era of good feelings for the National Wrestling Alliance when they broke through with Power. We had hundreds of thousands of views on their channels watching Power. And then the pandemic and everything went to hell. Then the 73rd came around and there was that good feelings again for the NWA. And then Power really brought in a lot of positivity to the NWA. And then that kind of got, wasted. And people aren't talking about the NWA the way they were. It's starting to pick up now. And I'm gonna put that on Matt Cardona's shoulders. People are talking positive about the NWA because Matt Cardona is your world's heavyweight champion. Roswell agrees with me about United Wrestling Network. And again, I love those guys. And I will be there on March 21st in Irvine on a Tuesday night. It'll be shortly after this podcast. I'll jump in my little car and drive 2 hours to Irvine and check the latest installment of the United Wrestling Network Championship Wrestling. And I'm excited to do it. They're bringing a lot of great talents, Rekka Khan, Lord Cruz, and a few other guys that I'm sure Lamb would know. But I don't know. There was a lot of potential for this tournament. I hope it's still a good pay-per-view. I will be there live on March 19th and 20th, and I will tell you exactly what I think. But I'm disappointed with the brackets. It's not the tournament I would have booked, but I'm not the booker. So that's good for all of you. But we are running out of time, guys. And I do thank you, each and every one of you, for being here and giving us your take, sharing your takes with me, sharing my takes with you. That's all part of the show. Guardians of Chaos agrees with me. There's so much talent out there that could be signed. I mean, look, the NWA, before I end the show, the NWA has done a good job of bringing in lesser-known names. I never heard of Wrecking Ball Legursky until he came out with Jay Bradley as the Fixers. Now I'm very intrigued by what I see from Wrecking Ball, not just as a tag team wrestler, but as an individual. I see some of his matches that I've seen clips of, and he's interesting. And I think he's a funny guy. I think he has a lot of potential down the road to maybe be his own man. Maybe he can become a singles competitor. He's a big dude that moves around really well. And the NWA has done that quite frequently. How many of you knew who, Slice Boogie was, or how many of you knew who Jordan Clearwater was before the NWA brought him in? I'm not doubting that Billy Corgan and company don't have a good knack for spotting talent. I just wish that they could have done something better with this tournament. And I do feel like they should be stepping up and bringing in bigger names, not just for this tournament, but for the show in general. And you could do that and not abandon everyone that's a part of the show. Devin Dowling says, we get the Fixers versus Original Kingdom, Gold Rush versus Strictly Business, and the Briscoes. I'll be happy with that alone. I already paid for that yearly annual NWA package. And that's the thing, too. A lot of people already have paid for the pay-per-view. So they'll get their numbers. But that's going to do it, guys. Again, I do appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you give it a thumbs up. You like, follow, subscribe, and all that great stuff. We do have a merch store with new designs coming soon for our t-shirts and hats and stuff. Make sure you stay tuned to that. The merch link is in the video description, so check that out. But that's going to do it for us. Until next time, we will see you at the matches. Thanks for checking out the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA Power every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are the Alliance.